Hey, in this video I'm gonna show you how to install Google Analytics version 4 or GA4 with Google Tag Manager onto your website. In the previous videos I already showed what Google Tag Manager is, or how to install a regular or like an older version Universal Analytics to your website. So this one would be specifically about GA4. And why GA4? So basically this is a newer version of Google Analytics which was introduced a few years ago, and as of next year the older version of GA will be just stop collecting data and stop working. The reason for that seems to be moving away from using cookies and third-party cookies in the browser. So if you look at Google Universal Analytics, that is focused a little bit more about the traffic sources and the funnels of how the traffic gets to the website, when GA4 is a lot more wrapped around events and what happens on the website or in your app, and everything is a lot more raw. If GA Universal Analytics was very well matching for e-commerce, then GA4 actually is suitable for any kind of website, for booking websites, for even gaming, because it tracks events, and events could be anything, starting from a regular like add to cart and purchase and finishing with, well, more complex and different conversions. I would assume that you installed Google Tag Manager on the website, and there is a separate video about how to use that, and you have signed up for Google Analytics account. So that would just simply create a property so you can log into your account, and this is what you would actually see. So in Google Tag Manager you would see a view of your workspace, and in Google Analytics you would see just an empty dashboard. So in my case there is actually some data because I played around with it a few days ago, but right now it is empty. There is nothing that happens, nothing that is being tracked. So where to start with? First, we need to create a tag that would be a configuration tag. So we already have two tags that are used for Google Analytics, Universal Analytics. So now we would need to create a new tag that would be used for GA4 configuration, and that one actually just is called that way, GA4 configuration. That's quite clear from its naming. So when setting up the tag, you need to add the measurement ID, and this is very easy to find. So if you go to your Google Analytics account and go to the admin panel in the left bottom corner, then you can go to the data streams setting in your property, and if you select on the current property, which would be like a web property if we're talking about the website, this has all the names and IDs that we need to use. So you need to copy this measurement ID, and this is what's going to be used in Google Tag Manager to set up the right connection to your GA4 account. There are some advanced settings if you need those, but for the basic tracking of page views and everything, this is enough. This is all that you need to do, and you need to trigger this tag to be fired on all the pages of the website. Now we can save it, and before we submit anything we can go to the preview page, and that would take us to the tagassistant.google.com, and if you put your URL of your website, it would connect to the website and load it. And then if you go back to the Tag Assistant, you would actually see that GA configuration tag and GA4 configuration tags are loaded and have fired when the site was loaded. If you go to the Google Analytics interface, you can actually we can go to the real-time reporting and actually see that there is something happening. So we can see that there is one view that is happening right now, which is exactly the result of the preview working. Now we can finish the preview and close the Tag Assistant. And what I also want to show as a next step after you started tracking all the page views on the website, we can track an event. And for example, on this website, we can track this button click and send it to GA4 as an event, so that then you can use it as a conversion after that. So let's go to the Google Tag Manager, and we already have a trigger that was set up for Google Analytics Universal Analytics. So I will try to explain how that works in the details. So in order to select the button and to get its class, so we can inspect the element and actually see that it has a class, and we can target this button by a class. But in order to be able to use that, we need to enable predefined standard variables in Google Tag Manager. So if we go to variables, and we see actually a lot of them already working. So this happens in the configure section. So if you open that up, you can see there's a lot of variables that can be enabled in Google Tag Manager, and that would start tracking some actions on the website. So we have enabled clicks and all the variables connected to clicks. You don't need all of them. You actually need just the click classes and the click URL, but that would be pretty much that doesn't make a huge difference if you enable like extra or not. It could only result in more data being processed by Google Tag Manager, but click element or click ID or click target, this is not something that has any like personal data inside. So this is only the elements on your website that are available anyway. So we have those enabled, and then we need to create a trigger that I have called a button click to another page. And when you create a new trigger, the type of trigger is link clicks. And then when you set this up, we set click classes containing the class of an element, which we can see just from the website. And then we select the click URL that it contains another page, and another page is just a link that we have on the button. So this is enough to actually target exactly this button click. And then we need to create a tag that would be used for that trigger. So we create a new tag, and this one is also quite easy because GA4 is very much around events. So it would just have a GA4 event tag for you. You need to select a GA configuration tag. And this is also quite easy because if you have forgotten to create a GA4 configuration tag, this is the moment when you have to select it. And if you haven't created it, you would be able to do it right now. And we can call it, let's say, another page button click. And here you have an event name, which would exactly be sent to GA4, to Google Analytics. My suggestion is to not use spaces in this naming, because we saw a few issues with those, like not showing up or showing up slowly in the reporting. I haven't found any actual issues around that, so I'm not sure that this is like a confirmed issue, but my suggestion would be to use, let's say, underscore instead of spaces, so you can separate levels of event naming inside it. And let's say we'll call it click another page button. So I have separated the click and the rest with 2 underscores, just in case I would want to like export this somewhere and separate by like click or like non-click, and then some other namings. We can also add some other event parameters if we want to, but again, like if you need to only track some action that a user does on the website, this is enough for you. And then what we only need to do is select a trigger, which is a button click to another page. So that's pretty much it. This is as easy as it works. So now we can preview those 2 changes on the website and see if that works. So we connect to the website. We wait for the tag assistant to actually connect to the site. We can go back and we see that GA and GA4 configuration tag have fired, but the other events, they actually haven't. So if we click the button, go to another page, let's see what happens. So the page reloaded and we are on another page. And when we go back, we can see that we actually have a link click event, which was enabled when we started tracking all the links on the website. And now we can see that we have also GA button click event and another page button click, which is the GA4 event, both fired. And and then the second batch of events is actually another page being loaded. Let's go to the GA4, and what we can also see is that we have 2 views of the homepage and then another page view, which happened just now. And then we can see that there is a click another page button event, which has fired. So this actually works. This actually sent an event to the website. Then the next thing that we can do is we can see more detailed reports on events and on what is happening. So this would give us like a little bit more detailed report on what type of events happen on the website, and this one would see a delay in events coming to the website. So if in real time you see them right away, here it may take a few hours to actually have an update of the report. And then if we go to conversions, we would actually see nothing because we don't have anything that we count as a conversion on the website. So you may use just the event reporting to get all information you need pretty much, but what is also possible is if you go to Configure tab and you go to the event section, which loads by default, you can see all the events that have happened on the website. The events that happened today, they won't actually show up here just yet because this is too soon to load, but let's take just the last 28 days. What you can do from here is mark any of your events as a conversion. So if we wait for a few hours for our button click events to show up in the reporting, we would see it in this list for the report for today, and we can mark it as a conversion, which then would work as a conversion in all the reporting in GA4. And if, let's say, you go to report, let's say acquisition, traffic acquisition, then you would see a report by channel grouping, and you can actually also see how many conversions happened on the website. So the total number of events may not tell you much because this is everything. You can filter those, which again, you can track conversions by just filtering the right events, but you would also see the conversions, whatever you say the conversion is, from here. So then when we are satisfied, we can finish the tag assistant and close everything up, and we would only need to submit the changes in Google Tag Manager. So we can call it a GA4 integration and publish it. So that would make the changes available for all the users on the website, not just you previewing the site. And then that's pretty much it. So don't forget to like the video and subscribe. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I will answer right away, or we'll make a video if it's something more complex. There are other videos on the channel on how to install GA in WordPress sites separately, which may be just simpler than using Google Tag Manager. But this is the recommended approach that I like to use because it's very configurable and very flexible. See ya.